we go. I'm not
This
even going to
man, I
respond to
swear to
that.
God, bro. I was over here giving a hot ass take and didn't even hit
No.
record. Nah, leave it in here. Let the people know you bamboozled me. That's crazy.
You did not see the timer flash up here.
I didn't need to see no timer. You asked a question and I went in. I'm logging off. That's
anyway,
crazy.
guys, welcome back to the channel. My God.
It's always some BS around here. Where's
hopefully
HR?
We can get back on hopefully we can get back on the regular schedule. Just a lot of crazy stuff happening in our personal lives. Been away on a conference for like the past week. It's been rough, and then I got sick over the weekend, so just everything's out of whack right now. But they were talking about Xbox. Now, me personally, I have never been an Xbox fan. I did hear about Xboxes like during the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era. That's when Xbox was the shining beacon for consoles. Because I think, yeah, their Xbox Live was amazing. That's all I heard. I hadn't even heard about what an Xbox was. All I cared about was PlayStation back in the day.
That's ugly.
Ghost, I don't know if you had.
That was my peak Xboxing days. You know what, though? That was the golden age of console wars, because that's when you had Gran Turismo, and then you had Forza, and then you had Halo and Gears of War, and just
Gears of War.
Beautiful, just beautiful time in gaming. But I was an Xbox person at that point.
Yeah, I wasn't. And so, I was big into Call of Duty during that time. I really didn't get to play, Gears or get into Halo whatsoever. Call of Duty's where I was, because it was obviously that was cross-platform. Then Xbox, towards when we started moving towards the PlayStation 4 era, they lost out big time because they were trying to, I guess they got too big for their britches, as the old people say, and they wanted you to, I think the main thing was that you couldn't share your games with other people. And whenever that game was put into your console, it would kind of like be registered to that console. And if you wanted your friend to borrow that game, then you were shit out of luck. You had to pay the 60 or whatever it was back then to play that game too. And they just completely
I don't remember.
They didn't recover from that at all. And I remember
that must have been something post me playing. That's crazy though.
Yeah. And I think PlayStation made just a response video, and I think it was, I can't remember the title, but if I find it, I'll put it in the video. But they were basically said, here's how you share games on PlayStation. And I think it was the president of PlayStation at the time, and all he did was take a physical copy and give it to the person beside him. And that was the end of the video.
I mean, it should just be that easy anyways.
It should just be that, but my God, I mean, they were just making things way too complicated. And I think also, Xbox had the Kinect back in the day, which I never really got. They were trying a bunch of stuff, but they never recovered from the PlayStation 4 era. And, I think getting Phil Spencer in there, because that was the new head. I can't remember who the other guy was that got up on stage and said that foolishness about sharing games. But, Phil Spencer seemed to be like the type of guy who understood gaming. He seemed like the everyday gamer. Feel like he understood what the players wanted. And I feel like people were excited to have him in place. But, over the years, Xbox has been buying up studios and all this other stuff. But I do not think they've had a breakout title in like the past decade. I don't even think they've had anything that has made it into like the game of the year at all. I think Xbox has just been, they've been limping along. They've been in third for a long time.
Well, and then it doesn't help here recently where they're starting to release their exclusive on PlayStation now.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to get to. Like, they are releasing it. It's getting to the point now where I'm like, I think Phil Spencer was like he realized that they were not, he realized they were in third place. And so he felt like the best way to do was, well, let's just have our games everywhere. And I can understand, seeing from his perspective, how that could work, because if you're going to be third, at least have your games be playable everywhere. I mean, you can still make money that way and I was fully on board for that. On top of that, they had Game Pass. I
Right.
think that was a great value. If you had a PC, you could tap into Game Pass for $10, which is a hell of a steal. You could play all the games that come out on Game Pass day one, other than their major titles. I thought that was a steal, and I think it was $10 for PC and $20 for console players, which was really damn good. Um, and then I here's why I was like, maybe they're going to a little bit too far with Game Pass when I was like, Call of Duty is going to come day one on Game Pass. And I was like, wait a minute. How are y'all going to make money like that? And I was like, they're not going to keep that price at that price point for long at Call of Duty, which is supposed to be like the darling
Right.
of, because I believe, right? Because, yeah, Xbox bought Activision Blizzard. So, yeah. That was supposed to be like their major title, like the one that brings in all the money.
Right.
And obviously people were upset when they went up to $30, which is just a no-go. You don't do that.
Right.
I'm sorry. Like, you were already fighting for your life, and then you want to increase the price point for your customers who are already trying to decide whether or not they should even keep buying an Xbox because they're playing for the exclusives.
Right.
What do you think? I feel like I'm rambling.
I mean, to be honest with you, it just kind of sucks because there was a golden age of Xbox, but to give your games an opportunity to be played everywhere, Steam already does that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
the fact that you're trying to tap into that a little bit later to try and do cloud gaming, I just feel like you're behind the eight ball with that. And I don't know, at that point I would just play a Switch. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not trying to play Call of Duty while I'm like on a plane or I'm on a bus or I'm in a car. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
just
Yeah.
me. There's just something about some of those games that while I'm on the move don't transfer very well. But Mario does. You know, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's almost for me, and it's, flame me in the comments, whatever. I don't care. To start to let a rival console release your exclusives, we're on a downward spiral at that point. The fact that
Right.
Forza's already coming over, there's talks of Halo, Gears of War are coming over, and the fact that like they still hadn't gotten Ghost of Yote or Ghost of Tsushima, it's like,
Right.
come on now, come on. It's a one-way street, and it just inevitably that's not good for business.
Right. And obviously the Steam Deck, right? Like having the Steam Deck and having access to your Steam library, like Steam, like that's a great thing to have. And I believe, some of those games, you can modify your Steam Deck, obviously, to play Xbox games. That's possible because you
Right.
like that. I have a Steam Deck personally. I love it. Don't ever plan on getting rid of it ever. I just think Valve went the right direction when it comes to like consumers and just letting you do whatever you want to do with your device, which would never happen with the Nintendo at all.
Well, you also know you're getting into that with Nintendo. You ain't doing nothing without Nintendo's approval at all.
You might have bought this console,
But it's
but
still
it's still
ours.
out. I swear.
You're leasing it. It's freaking
Right.
crazy.
But yeah, so Xbox obviously has been on a downward spiral. And, Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, they have now, quote unquote, retired. I don't know where Sarah Bond is going to be going to. Phil, I think, is just completely retired at this point. Good for him. Pretty sure he's just vacationing somewhere. But, I know a lot of people were complaining about the new person that came in, Asha, what is this woman's name? Yeah, Asha Sharma. She came in, she's already been making a lot of changes, mostly, cutting the price of Game Pass from 30 to 22. Yeah. So Ultimate Pass is at $22.99 and PC Game Pass is at $14. A lot of people are calling this like a price. It is a price cut, but it's mostly because they are taking, Call of Duty out of Game Pass, which should have never been there from the get-go.
Right.
So it's more just, them actually giving you the value back of what Game Pass is supposed to be. And I think the new console, we hear stuff online about, Xbox's next console. I heard they were trying to put because they are integrated on Steam and,
Mm-hmm.
PC and stuff like that, they were going to let you have access to the Steam library for from the console itself, which I think is fantastic. I love that. Um, and I really think Xbox needs to lean heavy into that, you know, PC and their exclusives. And even if they can still have their exclusives on their console, or they can just do limited. So, it comes out for a year on Xbox and then comes to PlayStation. That's still possible. That's a direction that you can go. If you
Right.
still want to, have that ability for everybody to have access to your games, you're still going off of that mission statement, then yeah, that's a possibility. But yeah, I just think Xbox isn't selling a lot of consoles. I'm looking at my notes here where they're talking about how they were 221 million down from quarter three just on hardware sales. That's a lot of money, and
Well, and you know what? I'd like to see what their numbers are going to be with PlayStation hiking their prices up to $899 and $1,000. For
right.
PS5s and possibly whatever the hell the PS6 is going to be at. I got to take out a mortgage payment to try and
Well,
game, which
well, the
is just
thing is,
ridiculous.
it's mostly from tariffs and whatnot because I think RAM prices are through the roof right now. So ain't
Don't
no
make
telling.
justifications for that madness.
That is I mean, that's a justification. RAM prices are absolutely asinine right now. So that Xbox is probably going to be just as expensive. I don't know how they're going to make it any cheaper. Nintendo prices have gone up anyway, but I think Nintendo would have gone up regardless.
They would have did it just to be spiteful.
But yeah, I'm interested in knowing like what direction they're going to go into. Xbox has always been, even though I've owned one for a limited amount of time, and then I just sold it because it was just sitting there collecting dust.
How
But
dare you? Oh,
Xbox has always just been there in the rotation. Even though I didn't play it, it's always good for competition. You cannot just be out here letting Sony and Nintendo run wild. They get crazy. And competition is a good leash for these companies.
you know what? Look at what Battlefield did to Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Let
Right,
them run wild for years. Now they got to take a step back, got to recalibrate.
right,
But I don't wish bad upon Xbox. I hope they can figure something out. Like if it is cloud gaming, like lean all the way into it. Don't tiptoe in the pool. Get all the way in. If you still want to do hard consoles, you need to lean into that and you need to get all the way in the pool. The
right,
tiptoeing around subjects doesn't do well in the market where other companies are fully engaged. Does that make sense?
right. In their memo, last thing they did say that daily active players will be their North Star, which is basically, what Fortnite operates off of, which is kind of crazy for a complete platform like Xbox to say, which means they're still leaning into the, you know, everybody can play our games everywhere type deal, which is good. But I'm just interested in knowing, are these exclusives like Gears still coming to PlayStation at this point? Even
Yeah, they
PlayStation is
will.
pulling some of their exclusives off PC.
That's wild.
But yeah, just I do like the changes that are coming. I am interested in knowing, how Xbox is going to end up in the future. One of they're still going to be going hard into hardware. I did know that they partnered with ASUS for the handheld, very expensive handheld PC. You have to be really deep into mobile gaming to want something that expensive. I heard the hardware is pretty good. Software could use some help, but yeah, Xbox is trying. They're doing their best, and hopefully this new CEO can get them back on track because competition is always good. But Ghost, do you have any last thoughts?
Nope, I'm good. I hope the best for him because competition's great.
Right. Well, let us know in the comments what you think. Are you do you have an Xbox? That's what I want to know. Like, and if you have an Xbox, why do you still have an Xbox? Let's argue in the
Man, that was
comments.
mean. That's crazy. About to get fucking tore up in the comments, boy.
But above all else, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. We will catch you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.